Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Janae, and I am going to be using a Polygel kit that I got for $10 off of Amazon. So with all the discount codes and everything applied, it was a steal of a deal. This is a great set especially for beginners. I actually really enjoyed working with this Polygel. I only worked with one color today, and I really liked it. So I can't speak about the rest of the colors. I know sometimes clear and the more translucent colors tend to be more sticky, but I do work with this really light opaque pink. So here are the dual forms that I will be using in today's video, along with everything else that I've clearly unboxed. It comes with a lot of stuff, and you'll see me throw my Polygel on the table here. I think it's kind of boring watching people take everything out of the box, but it does come with a shiny top coat and your base coat. And then I'm going to go ahead and head into the swatches. So number one was just your typical white. Number two was like a really pretty brown nude color. It looks like it's more see-through. Some of the bottles were a little bit messed up, like they had fallen on the floor or something, but whatever, it works. Number three is the color that I will be using in today's video. Number four is just a little bit of a darker shade of pink, and I just wanted something that was very subtle and soft but still really pretty, something that I would want to wear for a while. And you can see the difference here in just a second. Number four. And number 5 and 6 were just your regular like nude colors, but I will say that these nude colors are very pretty. They're actually some of the prettiest nudes that I've seen in a while. So everybody favors McCart, which they're a great brand, don't get me wrong, but their nudes are also great as well. But again, I got this Polygel kit for $10, so you just can't really beat that. And there was something in here to match everything, where you can accomplish anything you want, whether it's marble nails. I actually like number 6 a lot because it's almost like a mauve color, and I just really love that. I honestly think it would pair really well with number 4 to do like an ombre or something. So yeah, they're really pretty colors. I do slow down these drill bits that I use to prep my fingernail or prep my nails, because I really like that kit that they come in. And the first thing that I noticed about this brush for the base coat is that there's like bristles coming out, and they're really hard. The shape of the brush is kind of weird, but it still works and it got the job done. So I'm going into my dual form application, sorry, and I'm just going through and I'm shaping the dual forms to my nails. You can file them just like regular tips. I kind of speed up this process, and once I get them all together, I go in with my Model 1 Snail Dehydrator and Primer. That's been my go-to ever since I started. I absolutely love that. I started out with my thumb using the dual forms and the nail forms, and I use those as the main part of my video to show you how I do it. I only do the first 3 fingers on my right hand. My right hand is my dominant hand, so I was like, oh, you know, using dual forms will be easier on my, since I'm using my non-dominant hand to apply the dual forms, and it didn't end up working out too well for me. A lot of them came off. I ended up having to redoing 3 of them, and my thumbnail just finally came off yesterday. So if you ask me if I'll be using dual forms again in the future, that's probably a no, or not the near future. I might practice a little bit more, but they're definitely not my favorite thing. But they did build a really nice apex, I can say that. And these dual forms actually came off really easy, so you'll see that in here in a little bit as well. But so I wasn't quite sure, you know, how much polygel do I use, how much do I put in the dual form initially, but you kind of get a feel for it when you're doing it yourself. I kept all of this in real time. I forgot to put the base coat on, and actually on the rest of my nails I accidentally put top coat on the rest of them. So you can see that the brush still works pretty well, even though it is kind of a little jagged and it looked a little rough. Obviously probably won't be using this base coat unless it's for a backup, but it works. My nails have been hanging on since I did them on Sunday, and it's Friday now, so yeah, they look really nice. Alright, so after that I did use my Beetles lamp to flash cure or cure the base coat, and I'm absolutely, I just am so in love with this thing. It is so cool. But at first I was going to cure all of the dual forms on and then take them all off at the same time, but I was like, I'll try the thumb first because I don't know, it's just so satisfying for me to peel them off, but I do flash cure the rest and peel them all off at the same time. So now that I am pushing the dual form on my thumb, one thing that I would not recommend is pushing it all the way back to your cuticle, because as you can see, a lot of the product squished out, and it's not hard to remove the product from around the nail. These actually stayed on pretty well, and so if you are a beginner and you prefer the dual form method, or if you like using dual forms, these dual forms are actually pretty nice. They're not extremely curved, but they're not extremely flat, which I really like because my nail bed is really flat. So it definitely helps me personally get a really nice shape all the way around. And you can kind of see there in the corner of the thumb, it's really hard with dual forms to build up the side of the nail where your sidewall meets the tip area. It did run a little bit thin, and that's where a lot of breakage could start. So if you don't go in underneath the dual form and pat your polygel down in the form a little bit more, or more towards the edges, it does tend to leave a really thin sidewall there, and you can even see like little air bubbles in the side. And I did go ahead and push or pat the polygel back. I was also kind of worried that they would be really thin, and actually they weren't. They came out pretty thick even with as much as I pushed down on them. So here's the first satisfaction of peeling off the first dual form. I absolutely had so much fun with this part. I don't know why it's so satisfying, but I'll let you watch. So once I was comfortable with the application of the dual forms and just getting used to it with that first nail, I did go ahead and prep the rest of my nails with my Dehydrator and primer. And now I go in and I start doing my index finger. So I do speed this part up quite a bit because it just gets really redundant watching the same thing over and over and over again. You could get pretty bored. So you'll see every time I feel like I use too much polygel or too much product, I do scrape it off and then I put it in the next dual form that I'm going to use, so that way I don't waste product. Honestly, I had to redo my nails so much that I almost went through the entire tube of this polygel anyway. I do not blame the product for that. I was terrible at using these dual forms. So this is where I accidentally used the top coat instead of base coat, so they also popped off pretty easy. I think my middle finger came off that same day. Like right after I came upstairs from my little nook, it popped off right away. So yeah, I do leave some of this in real time, and then again I'll show you where I take out any additional polygel and I put it in the next dual form. And yeah, this one got a little bit more messy. It's actually not that sticky, I just didn't pull it out of the dual form correctly and it ended up leaving a long string, but there were no bubbles. I didn't have a lot of issues with bubbles or anything. The polygel itself was really amazing quality and really good. So I show you on the middle finger how I go underneath the dual form and pat down the polygel to get it to the desired length that I want, and also give it that nice shape at the end because I wanted a straight, more of a square tip. And so I just kept patting until I felt like it was where I wanted it. Again, I don't like to wear super long nails because like I don't go all the way to the end of the dual form, or I probably actually would have done a different shape, like more of a coffin shape, but yeah, my day job, I have to type, so. In order to cure the nail all the way through, I cured for 60 seconds with my hands in the light like normal, and then I turned them upside down to cure the underside just to make sure they were cured all the way through. And here I did keep this in real time and give you guys the satisfaction of watching me peel off all of the dual forms. This is always fun for me. So I hope you guys find it just as satisfying. I don't know why I like it so much, just is what it is. In order to get around the edges and get really close and seal my cuticles in, I do use a round ball bit, and I absolutely love these things. It is very comfortable, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't burn, as long as you keep moving especially, so that was really nice. And then I left a little bit of the footage in where I went back to fix a couple of nails, so I just went in with a regular nail form like I'm going to use on the next hand, just to fix any of the edges and the sides that didn't quite go down far enough or I didn't feel were sturdy enough, and thicken up a few of the nails. So I only left this footage in for the thumbnail, and then we'll move on to the dual forms. So now we're moving on to prep the left hand. I am trimming down my natural nails. I'll also buff the surface up or rough it so that I'll go around with my cuticle bit as well. So just to prep everything, do a dehydrator and primer. And so I only do, of course, my thumbnail first, like I mentioned before. And I finally got my base coat and actually put base coat on this hand. So and they've been going pretty strong, so the base, everything with the system has worked for quite a while now, and it's been almost a week, and I didn't have to fix anything on my left hand so far, and I'm usually really rough on my nails. So I do fast forward, and I did cut out a lot of this footage. I'll leave doing my thumbnail in real time using the dual form, or sorry, just the regular nail form. And then I will, I do speed up the process and show my nail form application, and you'll just kind of see the polygel as we go through. But this right hand was way easier to file. Also, the inhibition layer is on top instead of the bottom, unlike the dual form where I see people put top coat and everything else underneath of it. I just honestly cleaned out the inhibition layer underneath the hand where I used dual forms. I just used rubbing alcohol and cleaned it out. I don't like the feeling of product underneath my nails. I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but with the nail forms, it's just like if you were applying it to a nail tip. These nail forms that I used are shorter, but they are very, very sturdy. I use the silver instead of the gold because it's just a personal preference for me. Also, the light will refract more off of the silver, I feel like, than the gold. But again, same with the dual forms, just like I cured on the top. And then I also, once I'm done, I cure underneath the bottom. And then when I'm done with the entire hand, I also show you guys the peeling off process. So you'll see that, because I find that, again, very satisfying. These dual forms were very sticky, and you'll see on the index finger, I believe it is, where You'll still see the remnants of the form itself stick to my finger. So if I keep referring to these as dual forms, I apologize. I don't know why I keep doing that, but they're just regular, your standard sticky nail forms, but they worked really, really well. And there were a few where I had to throw them away and redo it, but the forms themselves, not the nails. But this method worked a lot easier for me. It's also how I fixed all of my nails on my right hand. So I just want to take the time to thank everyone for watching my video yet again. I also show how I apply a little bit of the bling and the details with the foil that I use here later on in the video. It's just super easy, simple. Love the color of this Polygel. Again, it was really easy to work with. It was a very nice consistency, and I definitely prefer the nail forms over the dual forms. And in that case, I'm out, and so we all know what time it is.
Let the beat drop.